rejections from the middle Bollinger Band.
Resistance we're going to need.
If you actually see here, we get a
And we'll look for a
hard
healthy
double
higher
I
low.
would not
don't have
be
the
convinced
pullback
to
to
enter a
cross
long
structure.
trade.
Hello, crypto friends. Hope you're doing well. We're checking back in. Things are getting pretty brutal, and we're wondering, is this the temporary bottom for now? And we're going to look at what the clues are. In the video yesterday, we had just started the bearish reaction to that initial news. We did end up holding support initially, and then we clearly got a significant leg down. I inquired that, perhaps the market has done a pretty good job of pricing it in. Clearly it has not, and this just shows the extreme volatility that Bitcoin still holds. The fact that the most likely scenario, the least likely scenario was an approval. The most likely scenario was a delay, and the second most likely scenario is a denial. So here we have the most likely scenario playing out, and it completely causing the market to dump. And I just wonder, if this news had come out back up when we were at 8,000, how brutal would that have been? We had already been 7 red days before the news even came out. So what I'm watching now, a couple clues to get some idea, is the temporary bottom in for now, as I am looking for an entry and looking to begin scaling in, which I already have done. I have an initial position in the 6,200s. I was saving a lot of cash for if we break 6,000 for a climax, and I'll still be watching for that potential, but I'm not going to be rushing to fill up my position anytime soon. So I do have exposure if this is the bottom, which is great. That's my anti-FOMO position. And it'll be a temporary bottom because we're just looking for a daily bounce and a daily bounce to set a lower high. But if we do see another leg down, again, I will be interested in adding a 6,000 break, but it all depends on where the RSI levels are when that break does occur. So we're looking down at the volume. Look at the volume here. It stands out, right? The most volume that we had at any point in time in the past few weeks. What did it mark? The top. Volume climaxes often mark the top of uptrends and the bottom of downtrends. So I'm keeping an eye out for a volume climax to signal the temporary bottom. This is the most volume that we have seen today in a long time. The last time we had this much daily volume, we're really having to go back a long time. Last time we had this much daily volume was back on April 25th, and look at that, pretty much marking the top as well. Not exactly, but pretty much. So these volume climaxes are signals, and we are getting one on the daily time frame. Look at the 4-hour volume. So the 4-hour volume on this current candlestick, it's behind the candlestick, but it's currently over 9,000. Last time we had volume this high was right here for the bull break. So again, this is the most volume we have seen on this entire pullback with that current 4-hour candlestick that just formed. And the RSI on the 4-hour time frame is still 22. So this bounce has not followed through in any way, shape, or form. We have to go time frame to time frame. So when I look for a bounce and I try and gauge how long is this bounce going to last, I start on the 5-minute time frame and I look for a trend change. At this point, we have some 5-minute little higher lows and higher highs. So all right, we got it on the 5-minute. Now I zoom out to the 15-minute. We have a higher low attempting to form here at 6,300, but we don't have a change in trend yet. Yes, we broke the lower highs, but we have no confirmation with the higher low and higher high. We have to break 63.66 in order to see that happen. We've been trading within this range now for over an hour, so we're either going to get a break and further pullback or a bull break and a change in the 15-minute trend. If we get that bull break, we then zoom out to the hourly. And the hourly time frame, we're going to be looking at the exponential resistance, which we touched and then dumped through on this most recent leg down. So the hourly exponential resistance will be next. We're not going to change the hourly and the 4-hour trend anytime soon. The last 4-hour lower high was 6,500. So in order to see a break of the lower highs, the odds of us going from 6,100 essentially to over 65 is not likely. We're likely to set an hourly lower high and have to form a higher low and then break the lower highs, just like the 15-minute is trying to do. We're then going to have to see it on the hourly. And then, you guessed it, we're going to have to see it on the 4-hour. As far as I'm concerned, the last 4-hour clear lower high is 71.52. That very weak bounce attempt was still lower highs every single candlestick. So anything under 71.52 is still a 4-hour lower high. So we could see a bull move up to 6,800. It's still not changing the 4-hour trend. We're going to need a bounce. We're going to need to set a lower high. We're going to need to form a higher low and then change the trend. So again, I go time frame by time frame, and it's almost a checklist. Have we done it on this time frame? All right, zoom out. We need it on the longer term. So at this point, as far as the 4-hour chart is concerned, this bounce has not played out in any way, shape, or form. As far as the shorts are concerned, this bounce has not played out. Nobody is covering. When I'm looking for a bounce, I want the shorts as high as possible, because if I see the shorts covering into weakness, so let's say the shorts were covering on this leg down here on the 15-minute time frame, that would tell me, all right, we're likely not going to see as magnified a bounce because there's no pressure for shorts to cover. Whereas in this current scenario, if we don't see the shorts cover and the bulls continue to see a move up to 64, 6,500, then they're going to start getting a bit uncomfortable. So I am keeping an eye on that. And again, it's just something that I keep an eye on when I'm looking for a bounce. This is essentially fuel for a bounce to see continuation. But again, the 4-hour time frame I feel like is such a clear guide for so many bears because it's been keeping bears in their trades. If they've been going by 4-hour lower highs, they entered this trade when we saw a break of 78.50, and they're still in this trade because the 4-hour time frame has not broken the lower high pattern. So at this point, yes, we're getting some initial signs that this could be a temporary bottom. Yes, I have a partial position in case it is, but no, I'm not holding my breath to say, all right, the daily bounce is underway because we don't have anywhere near enough information and the bulls have not followed through in any way, shape, or form in terms of the size of the follow through that we're going to need for the bulls to be comfortable and for the bears to start to be uncomfortable. So we're not there just yet, and we'll see if we can get some continuation into tonight. And as always, the exponential resistance. Ever since our most recent leg down from 7,000, we haven't gotten over hourly exponential resistance. And as far as the 4-hour goes, it's just been a brick wall. We haven't gotten over that in a very long time. So patiently waiting. Inside bar is likely tomorrow. That's probably the best case scenario for the bulls. The odds that the bulls are going to break 67.18 tomorrow is not likely, although it is possible. But if we form an inside bar tomorrow, that means the bulls held 61.21 and we're starting to establish support and level out a bit. The daily RSI did hit oversold when the price was at the bottom of this wick. So that's something else to be keeping an eye on. And that's where we're going to take it from here. Watching that Bitcoin bounce, the altcoins definitely getting just as beat up, seeing some more significant bounces in the short term. ETH USD falling apart. One thing I want to talk about is, a lot of people are saying, oh, this crypto trading environment, we've certainly gone through periods where the trading has not been clear, but ever since this bounce started on the daily and we broke 6,800, pretty much everything has been clear about what's going to potentially happen and be the most likely scenario because, well, I shouldn't say because. The one difference is the pullback here is more magnified, obviously, because the news looked like we were going to see a little bit of a bounce, and then the news obviously saw another leg down. So other than that, I would say pretty much everything has played out to expectations. We were looking for the lower high on the weekly in the low 8,000 range. As soon as we lost the higher low pattern on Bitcoin, that was, game over for the bulls temporarily, and the bears then took control. We saw that coming, and the 4-hour time frame is keeping the bears in complete control at this point. And just looking at these individual coins, again, Ethereum, look at how easy these signals are. The daily time frame, I've said previously in videos, if you are a trader and you have the patience enough to just wait for longer term equilibriums and that's all you play, your trade success rate is going to be very high. Ethereum broke the daily equilibrium at 454, and it's been nothing but bears, literally a lower high every single day since that happened at 454, and we dropped down to 347. So we dropped over 20% with no signal for the bears to exit their position because the bulls couldn't even break the high of the previous day, and that played out for 9 days in a row so far. So again, very clear signal. If you missed that one, look at the 4-hour chart. Perfectly clear equilibrium from yesterday with a clear bear break and tons of follow through from it. So it is not a difficult trading environment. It's just a bearish trading environment. As soon as we broke 401, there's your bear signal. If you wanted to be a little extra cautious, you wait for the 400 psychological break. If you enter on the 400 psychological break, again, every single 4-hour candlestick is a lower high, and we dropped all the way down to 347, just like that, 12% move, easy peasy. So yes, it is a little bit more difficult to be comfortable trading short than it is to be going long. It's a little counterintuitive. People generally learn how to trade long first, and then they switch to shorting. But if you are comfortable shorting, again, this market has been just fine in terms of trading and technical analysis. If you're only looking bullish, then it's been miserable. So it's a completely different scenario based on what your trading game plan has been. So Ethereum at this point, same thing. We look at the 5-minute time frame, certainly got a bounce following through. We zoom out to the 15-minute. higher low, higher high. So we did it on the 15-minute here, like Bitcoin was unable to so far. Hourly time frame, looking like just a lower high is being set. Where are we rejecting? Exponential resistance, no surprise. Resistance is now 363.90. Bulls have to form a higher low, ideally above 351, and then see a break of those lower highs with continuation. 4-hour time frame, not even in sight. So again, anything under 410 is a lower high on the 4-hour time frame. So for this bounce to really develop and for us to get followed through on the daily time frame, in my opinion, we're going to have to bounce, set a lower high, which we aren't even doing yet on Ethereum, and then pull back higher low and higher high. It's not going to happen anytime soon. It might play out into the weekend. But again, this just is not enough for the bulls to shift sentiment in any way just yet. Litecoin, again, same thing with the clarity for the bears. The daily equilibrium broke bearish at 81.60, and we dropped down to 61. That is a 25% plus drop. So the daily pattern was clear. The 4-hour equilibrium broke bearish at 72.51. Same thing, straight drop, 72.51 to 61. That's a 14 or so % drop. So again, very easy, very clear signals for the bears. Play the equilibrium break bearish, big time profits. So at this point, the bounce is trying to play out. 5-minute time frame clearly changed the trend. 15-minute did as well with higher lows and higher highs. Hourly chart, still just lower highs. So we're not even changing the trend on the hourly time frame yet. 64.49, and we're topping out at 63.71. So bears absolutely still strong. And until we change the hourly trend, then we go to the 4-hour, and then until we change the 4-hour trend, bears are comfortable. RSI levels still down at extremes. Litecoin 4-hour RSI is under 20. Ethereum 4-hour RSI is down at 15. And I will be looking to play, potentially, now that I have a Bitcoin position, I might be looking to play Ethereum. If we do get another leg down, rather than playing Bitcoin under 6,000, I might play Ethereum on its leg down because of how extreme these RSI levels are. Checking ETH BTC to see how it compares. And we're not oversold here. We're trying to change the 4-hour trend. A little bit of a double top to be keeping an eye on. So that'll be interesting. Bulls trying for a daily higher low, and then they need a break of 588 to change the daily trend and see that higher high. So potential we could get that kind of follow through. So that makes me interested enough in ETH if we get that next leg down. BCH. So BCH lost the daily higher lows at 780. Next thing you know, here we are at 560. Big time dump. 5-minute time frame, trend changed. 15-minute, higher lows and higher highs. Hourly time frame, just a lower high. Anything under 615 is that lower high. We're topping out at 599. And we have bounced significantly enough to anticipate an hourly higher low is likely. Either an equilibrium is going to come on the hourly or a little higher low and then a bull break for continuation. 4-hour time frame, last lower high. You could consider 623.21 a resistance, but in terms of a clear lower high, it's all the way up at 712. So again, in order to change the 4-hour trend, not happening anytime soon at this current point. EOS USD has had a ton of volatility. We saw an all-out dump here as well. Daily chart dropping down to lower lows. And again, you can see just trading sideways. And as soon as we broke to a lower low, 682 all the way down to 531. Huge gains for the bears. Same thing for the routine on the bounce. 5-minute changed the trend. 15-minute did as well. Hourly has not. So everybody's in the same standpoint. The hourly lower high is 592, topping out now at 572. And we'll be watching for the potential of an hourly higher low. Declining bull volume. Let's just check back in on all these hourly bounces. Declining bull volume. Declining bull volume. You get the idea. When you see declining bull volume, you can anticipate an hourly lower high is going to form. Have to see increasing bull volume to break resistances. I shouldn't say you have to, but generally you need to. ETC USD. So a sell the news event. We ran up significantly into the Coinbase listing and we all out dump when it's listed. So no surprise there in terms of selling the news. We are going to be watching support of 1412 to see if the bulls can hold that level. Currently trying to hold 1486. Same thing, has any kind of bounce played out. 5-minute time frame, weak bounce. 15-minute has not changed the trend. We broke the lower highs, but we don't have a higher low and higher high follow through like every name that we just looked at aside from Bitcoin currently has. So clearly weaker in that regard. We look at the hourly chart, not even close to doing anything. Last lower high just now, 1564. The bigger the bounce you see on the hourly, like BCH has, let's just compare these two. So ETC USD, look at the range here, the size of the bounce. Let's just get percentage-wise real quick. Percentage, we're looking at about a 4.7% bounce. So we have to hold less than a 4.7. Well, that's wrong, but 4.7% bounce. BCH bounce over 6, just about 6. So that's a significantly bigger bounce. That's a 30% bigger bounce, which means the bulls have a lot more space to work with. So the odds that we form a higher low on BCH are way more likely than on ETC because of the amount of space that the bulls have to work with. So that's that. That's where we stand. Hourly time frame is now the most important time frame for me. Have to change the trend on the hourly, and then from there we'll watch the 4-hour. Have to see the bull volume show up. Have to put pressure on the shorts to cover. There is no pressure for these shorts to cover at this point. They're still up at the highs. They are absolutely extended, but again, until we give them a reason on the hourly and 4-hour time frames to cover with some scary bull volume to them, then they're comfortable, and that remains the case. So again, my game plan, I'm currently in a profitable position. If I want, I could set a stop loss at break even in the mid 620s, 6,200s. I may do that. Otherwise, I'm going to watch to see how this hourly tightening pattern plays out. I do anticipate Bitcoin to form a higher low on this current hourly consolidation. And it's just a question of, can we form a higher high? Can we get a higher low and higher high into tomorrow morning? Or is it going to be a significant enough pullback that an equilibrium is more likely? I hope you all continue to do good things. Got another video. This is the redwoods and a herd of deer, all shapes and sizes, walking right through our camp where we were set up. And we'll check back in tomorrow. Again, if you have bull positions, you want to be protecting them. You want to be either locking in short-term profit, or if you want to give yourself a chance for the more significant bounce with follow-through, you are ideally entering a trade, exiting a portion of that at a small gain. That lowers your cost basis of the remaining position, so you can put your stop loss at break even below a key support, and then you patiently wait. I want to be stopped out or take small profit on all of these little bounces because I'm playing counter the trend. When I'm counter the trend, I lock in my positions a lot faster than when I'm trading with the trend. So at this point, if you are a bear, the bearish entries are, number one, if you're a more aggressive bear, you're looking for a bearish entry on the hourly exponential resistance. If you're a more patient bear and you want to be a bit cautious, you're waiting for that friendly 4-hour exponential resistance, which is approaching down. Other than that, we're keeping an eye on volume. Bulls have to show up with volume or they don't prove anything. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow.